This is a Pele Media podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in today to Goonies Minute. Goonies Minute is the fan podcast where we explore the 1985 classic film Goonies Minute by Minute. I'm Brady.
And this is Chris.
And we are joined yet again today with Miss Okay, Chris's chair has broken. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Oh no, are you okay?
You broke this one last week.
I did. Are you, dude? Are
No,
you
I'm
sure
fine.
you're good?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm good now.
For the moment. No,
awesome.
seriously, though, that's me, Kyle, and Chris have all busted in this thing like at least
Oh,
once
that's
this week.
so funny.
But I'm too
You
cheap
need
to
to
get.
keep that one on.
Yeah.
Keep that.
All right.
Don't edit that out.
Yeah, right. Okay, so we're joined once again today by Miss Crystal Beth. Crystal, how you doing?
I'm doing so good, it's insane.
It's insane, y'all. That's awesome.
You're not gonna ask me how I'm doing?
Okay, yes. Chris, how are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful.
There you go. Who does that sound like?
I don't know. Sounds like Chris.
Sounds like you, yeah.
Chris acting like an idiot.
There you go. All right, well, if y'all are ready, let's go ahead and get into minute number 12.
Let's do it.
In the previous minute, we saw Mouth continue to intentionally mistranslate Mrs. Walsh's instructions to Rosalita. At 12 minutes, Mouth tells Rosalita that if she does a bad job, she will be locked in the storage closet with the cockroaches for 2 weeks without food and water. Rosalita quietly responds, "Mi Dios, estoy en una casa de locos." At 12 minutes and 20 seconds, Mrs. Walsh, Mouth, and Rosalita come downstairs. Chunk is trying to casually hide the broken statue from Rosalita. At 12 minutes and 35 seconds, Mrs. Walsh tells Brand to look after Mikey. While she continues to bark orders, her attention is suddenly drawn to something else. She points to the coffee table. Chunk assumes that she's pointing to the statue. And thus ends minute 12 of the Goonies. All right, so we got a lot of cool stuff going on in this minute. Chris, what are your notes?
No, we finished when Mouth started talking about that if Rosalita didn't do a good job, that she would be locked with the cockroaches, and that's when you see her make the comment that she's living with she's in a crazy house.
Awesome, yeah.
But more importantly, when they're walking downstairs, there's more of that pirate imagery.
Yeah.
And there's two things. There's the ship's wheel that's also a clock that's on the wall,
Yeah, I noticed
which is
that.
kind of interesting. And then you see that weird-looking globe.
Yeah.
You know?
Which,
And it's like, maybe that's not a weird-looking globe to other people, but it's a weird-looking globe to me. And it looks like something that would be in a
I can
pirate
see
ship.
that,
It's
yeah.
very pirate-ish.
and there's, there was something, there's like the miniature pirate ship framed like above the door, and then there's a framed picture over the staircase when they're coming down the stairs that I believe is of a ship. So you just get
Yeah.
that motif all throughout the house.
Hey, you heard Miss Walsh call Mouth Clark?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, I
awesome.
love that. They
All right.
also have all of the other pictures around the apartment, where am I, New York? All of the other pictures around the house, even over the couch and stuff, they're all, if they're not pirate ship, they're seascape.
Yeah.
So, like
Even-
the blue framed one, that's a seascape. And there's another picture frame next to the cabinet when you see Mouth, Chunk, and Rosalita. That looks like it's an ocean scene as well.
Yeah, and even the upholstery on the couch that Mikey is sitting on is, like nautical themed.
Yeah, they have that pirate ship that looks exactly like the one that you see later on.
Yeah. Very cool stuff. Just kind of like keeping that theme going, because aside from the skull and crossbones it's the first thing we see in the movie, they kind of leave the pirate theming for, up until we're about to go into the attic and in the next minute.
Yeah.
So we've got these little things dropped throughout to kind of just remind us that, hey, you're in a pirate movie. I know
Yeah.
we're getting all this information about foreclosures and kids getting kicked out of their homes and stuff, but this pirate
But
thing.
don't forget the pirates.
But don't forget. So
There's also at the very, very beginning of the movie when Mouth's talking to Rosalita, the mom picks up an inflatable yellow thing, and I have no idea what it is. I've never
Really?
seen it, even as someone who was raised on 80s toys. It's like yellow, and it has like a hat thing on it, and looks like a frowny mouth, but it also doesn't at the same time. I don't know if you guys noticed it, or
I'm telling you
even
what,
better, know what it is.
You have gotten me very.
Yeah,
It's like, man, I thought I looked at this close.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to take a look at that.
Where in the scene is it? Are they like on the upstairs?
It is right when when Mouth is saying, you'll be locked up in here with the cockroaches.
Okay.
What?
And you see her in the background lifting up a yellow inflatable balloon that looks like it has a face on it and a red nose and feet.
What the hell are you talking about? Okay, so we just took a break to find out what the hell this thing is that Crystal's talking about in the scene. Chris, you were able to find it on your phone. We cannot make out what the hell this is.
I have no idea what that is.
I've never seen it.
And we're going to have to do some research on that. But I wouldn't even know what to look up.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what to look up.
I know, right? You look up, like, yellow, blow-up, red-nosy, footy, mouthy
contraption with it has a strap on it, too.
Yeah, where does it strap onto? Where do you strap it? Do you sit on it?
That'd be really big to strap on. I mean,
well,
you know.
Just maybe it fell out of the attic.
Yeah, it could have.
Right.
Watch out, it's going to disappear because Rosalita's going to have that.
Okay. Probably. So let's see. Outside of that, I have nothing else for this minute. You do.
One other thing, and Crystal Beth was talking about how, like, proud Mouth was, earlier, when he was he put his hands together.
Oh yeah.
And when Mrs. Walsh, he told Mrs. Walsh that he could translate Spanish, but when they're walking downstairs, it's so funny as she compliments him, and he's so proud.
Mm-hmm.
He is so proud, and it's really kind of
combs his hair.
Yeah, it's so funny, and also when they come back downstairs, she starts giving instructions to keep Mikey out of the rain, and then she calls Brandon.
Brandon, yeah.
Also, his full name. She's being very protective and all kind of stuff.
Very motherly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's see, it's just so funny is when she's given these instructions, Chunk is so concerned with the statue. There's a look on his face, and he's kind of looking at Rosalita's looking around, and the first thing he's thinking is that Rosalita's going to see it.
Do you think she sees it?
I don't know, considering what Crystal Beth's saying about the the attic. That's honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, if you're right about the attic, then she would definitely know where that was.
Yeah.
So, and he's really concerned though about it.
And I love Chunk's face in this part.
Yeah, it's great. And then she calls Data Dada, not even.
Yeah, and I love when he corrects her. He's just like, no, it's Data. It's Data.
And then right at the end is when you see when you hear her say, "What is that?"
Because he's just been so concerned. You can't have enough Chunk in this movie.
No, you really can't. And
so good.
Chris and I were talking about this in one of the last sometime last week. Do you think that this is Chunk's movie?
Oh man, you know what? If I can think of someone that I think of when I think of the Goonies, it is Chunk.
Yeah.
Chunk and Sloth, and so when they have their scenes together, not to give away the movie, but
there's people following us that haven't watched it yet.
Oh,
you never know. Come on.
No, there's not.
No.
Oh, spoilers.
Yeah. No, it's I've always find it interesting when you can see a movie as like being someone else's story. Like The Dark Knight, I think, is probably Harvey Dent's story and not necessarily Bruce Wayne's. Or
yes.
Have you ever seen Alien 3?
Yes.
There's a character in it, Dylan. I really think Alien 3 is his story as well. So
yeah.
I think you could look at it like this, or Mikey's story. I mean, he's kind of our main protagonist. So.
Yeah, I think Chunk is what makes it a funny kids movie. Funny adventure movie.
Keeping that balance there.
Mikey is the serious theme of the reason why they're doing the things they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool that you get to see those two adventures separately. You're not just the Goonies are divided throughout this whole thing, technically. But anyway, well, if nobody has anything else for minute number 12, then we can go ahead and call this one a day.
That's it for me.
Crystal?
How about any of you?
Nope, nothing else.
Cool. Well, before we sign off, Crystal, tell everybody where they can find you with everything that you've got going on, with Fifth Element, with Unlimited Lives. What you got going on?
Wow. Well, I, too, host a Minute podcast, and we are doing The Fifth Element, and that's called The Fifth Element Podcast, and you can find us on iTunes. You can Our website is thefiftheleminute.com, and we just released our introductory episode. But as this comes out, I think that we're going to be full-blown released on the 26th. So our first episode is going to be coming out then. We're released 3 times a week, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And it's really fun. The Fifth Element is just such a fun movie, and you can continue the discussion with us on Facebook. We have a Facebook group. If you just search The Fifth Element, you can find us. And I also have a video game podcast called Unlimited Lives Radio, and you can find that on iTunes as well. And we record Thursdays at 6 p.m. live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Unlimited Lives Radio. And it's really fun. It's video games and comedy.
That's so cool. And that's such a unique idea. You know, I've never heard of anything like that before.
Well, let me tell you this. There are tons, and they're funny, and those of YouTubes of this kind of the Twitch, and then they have the best ofs that you'll see on there. And I had never even heard it, and I just started watching some of them. They're really good.
That's awesome.
So I think you're gonna have something that's gonna be awesome with that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, that's awesome. So Fifth Element is out now on iTunes, and where else can people find it?
iTunes, or you can listen to all the episodes on thefiftheleminute.com.
Awesome. Be sure to check that out, everybody. But with all of that said, let's go ahead and get out of here. I am Brady.
And this is Chris.
I'm Crystal.
And we're here to remind you that Goonies never say die. Goonies Minute is a fan-supported podcast. If you like the show, then leave us a review on iTunes. You can find us at GooniesMinute.com, Facebook.com/GooniesMinute, Twitter.com/GooniesMinute, and at Instagram @GooniesMinute. You can contact us at GooniesMinute@gmail.com. You've been listening to a Pele Media podcast. For premium content and exclusive podcasts, visit us at Patreon.com/Pele Media. Check us out on Facebook at Facebook.com/Pele Media, and follow us on Twitter at Twitter.com/Pele Media.